Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for a dynamic effort lower day, but a quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos. Please remember to click like down below, be greatly appreciated. Today we went with the Buffalo bar, again with bands. Normally I wouldn't do the same setup 2 weeks in a row, but wanted to mess with it a little further, see how comfortable it felt on my shoulders, and I've realized I could probably do a lot of my speed work with the straight bar at this point. All right, I probably could. And it might be better as long as my shoulders like it. I think with this bar position I'm using here, everything feels comfortable. I can do the high sets with it. I ran a lot more band tension, and I think that's the way we're going to go. We're going to run a ton of accommodating resistance. I'm going to keep the bar weights very, very light on all my speed work. It seems to really give the desired response that I want of, again, compensatory acceleration, trying to outrun the bands and chains. And I may rotate just sumo and conventional at this point. Although for the squats and benches, I might rotate bands and chains, even though I think bands are generally superior. I think rotating the training stimulus could be pretty valuable here. It could be pretty valuable. Just like we rotate the max effort work. The things that I'm rotating the least is the supplemental work these days, funny enough. Because, good movements are good movements, and some stuff is very, very, very good on recovery. Which we'll get to with some of that. But yeah, the box squats went really good today. For those curious, yeah, I'm running 150 pounds of band tension. Running 150 pounds of band tension on these. So it's a lot. And the same thing, we get over to the Sumo Deadlifts in a minute. And I haven't done these in forever, so it took me, a couple reps to kind of get in my groove. I've got to learn to find my good footing, got to learn to squat down and then drive it up. But, and again, I've not always been the most proficient sumo puller. It's because of my own leverages and things. But again, they're worth working on for the speed work because, you know what, even doing speed sumo pulls improves my conventional deadlift. But the first two sets, I realized the bands, I need to run more bands. So I took that band and I ran it one notch tighter and then added another one. So this should be, because of the way these bands are set up, 195 pounds. This would be rated at 130, but because of the way they're pulled over in a V, when I've measured it before with digital scales, it's about 1.5 times the weight that's listed. But yeah, I've got to get them tight enough like I did there to where they're taut at the bottom so that I'm pulling against tension immediately before it even breaks off the floor, right? So there's no slack at all. But yeah, really, really happy with that band setup. And I've noticed a benefit, even with this rack not bolted down, it's heavy enough with those arms extended. Because really it'd be a pain to bolt this one down right now to this setup here until I get moved. But everything stayed stable, even with pretty much 200 pounds of bands. So I'm happy about that. And for the first accessory lift, again, went with axle bar inverted rows. You guys will see I got Saif doing these now too. And I like these. I like these on my lower days, because again, it gives me some good grip training. Still works the upper back, middle back. Then we're hitting it from a few angles. We're obviously doing more serious types of rowing to where grip may not be the limit on upper days. And then the lower days, I'll do this to make sure that grip is on point. Got to make sure that grip is on point for my deadlift. Super, super critical. But 5 sets of 15 on these, and grip held pretty good. And that's the thing with this axle bar. Even though in theory the grip should be the limit, I don't feel that it is. Right? I'm able to grip it just fine. These are the same sort of reps I was getting with a straight bar. But that means I'll keep doing them with the axle bar. If we end up turning it into a good lat exercise, we're good. Because I still feel the grip in the forearms more with the same number of reps. Because they are working harder. It just means my grip is strong enough that doing these with a straight bar, it's not a factor. And of course, I did my chins this morning, which you guys saw. So it's pretty much been a seal row, inverted row, chin up type of week. Again, we've got to keep all that back growing. Really, I think all the rowing and pull-up type movements combined with the reverse hypers are really what's going to build my deadlift. It's really going to build my deadlift at this point in the game. Now, up next, I did belt squats. And like I said, now that I've got 220 and plates on here, I'm not sandbagging these now. These are getting hard. Now I do feel like today I can increase the weight a little bit next time, but this is going to be tough. These are getting challenging to complete 5x10 with this weight. But today felt better than it did on Tuesday. So I am getting stronger at it. But I'm not sandbagging anymore with that. It also means, though, we're training pretty hard on these. So we should be getting some respectable hypertrophy in the quads, adductors, and glutes. All right, we should be getting some good hypertrophy here. And again, glutes are a big priority for me right now because of squatting and deadlifting. So a lot of these movements I'm picking are very, very glute intensive. It's like the reverse hypers are, and I'm doing 20 sets a week now of those and trying to progress on it. But what I ended up doing, and I didn't film them, I filmed them as supersets, but then when I load them in here, I split them back up to where you guys see me do the belt squats and then the neck work. But I did, between every set of these, I did a set of neck extensions. I haven't done those in a while, but again, can help with deadlift lockouts, keeping that neck stronger. Right? It does matter on the deadlift. It does matter. And it's just part of being thick. Doing that little bit of neck work, just the neck extension side. Again, that one's not going to be any risk of sleep apnea or anything. I'm not concerned with that. I just need to stay as lean as possible. Continue to get leaner to avoid that. Because really, what do we do in everything? Everything's about body composition. We train for max strength with the heavy singles. We train for explosiveness with the speed work. Then everything else is about just getting thick. Tons of hypertrophy volume. And picking movements right now to where I am looking at the stimulus to fatigue. Because I am hitting heavy singles on variations of the big three every week. Really, that has enough impact on recovery, axial loading. Everything else is largely traction based if possible, but I am looking at those things. And I'm not worried about building up the rest of the back. I can do it with all the rowing, the pulling, the reverse hypers. But again, this builds neck, builds upper traps. So again, I want to get that neck thicker. Right? I want to get my neck thicker. I want to get it stronger. Again, it can help on the deadlift. Right? The neck, upper traps, all of that. It seems to help a little bit with deadlift lockouts. Even though that's not my weak point, not a bad idea. Because I'm really weak just below the knee. It's what tends to limit me. But there's no harm in doing these because it's an area that may be getting a little undertrained. I know some people are like, why not do biceps? But I'm doing so much pulling, I don't feel like my biceps are undertrained. And now that I'm doing the chins, the higher rep chins at a higher frequency, and doing those a lot of days early in the mornings, that probably is enough work for the bicep tendons. It probably is. Right? Probably enough. So we're probably good there. But again, when you start factoring in that I'm doing up to 20 sets of rows a week plus all those chins, it's a lot of pulling. And biceps can really only benefit from so much volume. Honestly, everyone overtrains them too much, at least if you look at a lot of the literature. And again, it's an area that tendons get inflamed if we're not really careful with too many small movements. And I can't afford that tendon inflammation when I'm going to be pulling max's mixed grip. Can't afford it. It's a risk. So it's just something I have to think about there. Whereas in this is not a risk. But then we come over to next, the reverse hypers. And I'm pushing these really hard. And I notice again, I'm getting stronger workout to workout. Now that I'm doing it, I'm pushing them hard. With a goal, I'd like to be doing 500 for 10 sets of 10. With this nice, decently strict form like we're doing now. I would like to be doing that, but by the time Worlds gets here. And right now it feels like I can add weight every workout. Definitely feels like it. But here's the other thing again. If we're going to throw tons of volume into something, what am I picking right now? You're seeing me do reverse hypers on lower days, and you're seeing me do band press downs on uppers, and progressing on both. These are both movements that have a restorative effect and can build tendons and connective tissue and stuff. In this case, it has restoration on the low back. The band press downs are not only really easy on the elbows, they're restorative on the elbows. So that, again, I can handle the closed grip benching better. So what this is doing for me, this is building all the primary movers of my deadlift. And, some of the primary movers for the back squat and stabilizers for it. But building the primary movers of my deadlift in a way that's restorative. And because of the restorative nature of this, you can handle a lot more volume. Because at the end of the day, yes, volume is a massive driver of hypertrophy, again, relative to mechanical tension. It is. But the problem is the recovery end. But what if, again, in this case, we're picking the movements to do the most volume for these areas? Movements that have the best recovery component, good stimulus to fatigue or possibly restorative. All right, in that case, we can run a lot more volume. All right, we can strengthen and build these areas up with more volume and workload because we recover from it faster due to the nature of it. And that's what I'm looking at here, and that's what I'm trying to do. Again, it's optimizing it by looking at it from that perspective so that we can handle and tolerate much, much higher volumes than what we would be able to on other movements for these same muscles. But yeah, there's not really much else, I guess, to say there. I've said everything I need to say. Have I? Other than again, the sumos are going to take a little work to tighten up that technique. And I'll probably alternate conventional and sumo every week for the speed pulls, so that again we're rotating the training stimulus all the time, while still getting the desired response in terms of workload. So getting the desired response. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I'm going to let you guys watch the last couple sets since I'm pretty well done talking. So I hope it has been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.